First question for you today will come from Michael Swain of Cyclone Alert and 247 Sports. Go ahead, Michael.
Hey, Solomon. I was talking to Jalen about the organization that he started, Figure Print. I'm just curious if you talked to him about it and just maybe what your general thoughts on what Jalen has started with that organization.
Yeah, that's something he started. I know he's been working on it for a long time. Um, I'm not too sure exactly what is exactly, because I know it's still in its early stages. But yeah, I share his stuff. I try to support him the best I can, and yeah, I think he's doing great things. I noticed that he was like a leader ever since he came. He stepped on campus. How he presents himself. And he told me that he was in a fraternity, and just like the things he's been doing, at his last school. So I'm proud of him for being able to start that.
Thank you.
Once again, if you have a question for Solomon Young, please use your raise hand button in the participants menu. And our next question for Solomon will come from Randy Peterson in Des Moines Register. Randy, once you unmute yourself, you're good.
How you doing, Solo? How have you've been at Iowa State a long time. You've been through some I don't know, strange stuff over the years with injuries and everything, but nothing like this. How are you managing through a pandemic?
Um, I think I managed just how everybody else is. Like with the quarantine and when it first started, it was tough. Everything being closed down, but you got to make the best of it. And this is a weird year, but I think collectively as a group, our team has done really well with the COVID stuff. We're practicing now. We have had no shutdowns or anything. So I mean, right now it's not too different, with the exception of like classes being online. But I mean, for me personally, I was gonna have class online anyway. I know for the new guys, it's different.
Was there any thought in your mind that because of this pandemic, you just may say the heck with this year and go back home?
No, I love basketball, and I wanted to play my last year, and so no, I wasn't thinking like, oh, I'll just stop playing or anything. I was hoping the season would happen. So I think everybody was.
Appreciate it, Solo. Thank you very, very much.
Yep.
Our next question will be from Ben Visser of the Cedar Rapids Gazette. Go ahead, Ben.
Hey, so when we talked to Coach Prohm, I think it was a couple weeks ago, he said that you could be one of the best bigs in the Big 12. What do you have to do to get to that level?
I think I just got to be consistent in my work ethic. Continue to try to hone in on my skills, and and like helping my teammates. Just make sure everything goes smoothly, because it's a team thing, and I want to win a lot of games this year, and I know my teammates do as well.
Thank you.
Our next question will be from Matt Bellingson of the Iowa State Daily. Go ahead, Matt.
Hey, Solo. I know that Coach said that Xavier has been dealing with some head issues. It looks like the whole team really has been kind of banged up over these last couple of weeks. But just in the brief glimpses that you've seen, what have you seen from Xavier when he's on the floor, and just kind of what are you seeing from him? I know obviously he's coming into this year with a lot of expectations surrounding him. Just what have you seen in practice with him?
He's he's still young. You can tell that very clearly. He still has a lot to learn, but he is very athletic, and he wants to get better. I just know with this kind of like lagging kind of injuries, and the head thing, it's kind of putting him back a little bit. But if we can get him healthy, and we can get him kind of like comfortable in the flow of the offense and things, I think he'll do really well.
Coach mentioned that that's going to, not just for him, but for pretty much all the young guys, you know, it's obviously going to take time to adjust to the college level and, you know, to get used to kind of how things work. Just from your own experience, I know obviously, you know, he's a much different player than you are. You know, you guys play the game differently, but from your own experience when you were a younger guy coming into college, what are the big things that, you know, a young guy, especially a big, should really be focusing on to make sure that you know, that transition is as smooth as possible?
I think the biggest thing is just to, you know, stay consistent. You know, try to remember, you know, the actions and what you're supposed to do. 'Cause, I mean, it's a hard job, but it's also not too complicated either. And I think for him, it's just like make sure he's watching film, going hard, because you know, as a new guy, you're going to mess up. And so I think just staying positive, you know, not getting too down on yourself, and just sticking with it each and every day. I think that's the most important thing, you know, as a new guy coming in.
All right, thank you.
Our next question will be from Travis Hines of the Ames Tribune. Go ahead, Travis.
Hey, so I was just wondering what you thought you guys were going to need from Rasheer this year.
I think just his leadership, you know, and him talking. 'Cause we have a lot of new guards, and you know, and him going to play a lot of the point this year. I think making sure that he lets these guys know, like, you know, how to like be a good guard in this league. Talk to them, encourage them, because you know we're going to need those guys. And I think that's for him, just to be consistent in his leadership. You know, just the skill comes, you know, naturally.
And if you have a question for George, please use your raise hand button on the participant manual, and we'll get off and rolling here. And our first question for George will be from Randy Peterson of the Des Moines Register. Randy, once you unmute yourself, you're good.
George, how you doing? I missed seeing you play summer ball this summer, but maybe some other time.
Yeah.
I'm sure you missed it too. What do you have to bring this year for Iowa State to be successful? What's your game have to be?
I just got to bring my defensive presence this year. It has to be huge. Being able to run up and down the floor, I believe, is still one of my strengths. So rim running is going to be one of the things that open up the offense a lot, but mainly being a defensive presence.
Talk about Jalen Coleman Lance for a moment. What have you seen from him?
Man, he comes.
Each other.
Yeah, he comes to practice every day, ready to work. He's shooting before practice, shooting after practice. He's really driven to help us out and help us win.
Does he need to be a 40% three-point shooter?
He will be.
15 points a game type guy?
I'm not going to put any pressure on him. I want him to come into this magical place we call Hilton and play his game. I personally believe he will be, because I have that much confidence in him. But I'm not going to put any pressure on him to provide that.
Understood. Thanks, George.
No problem. Thank you.
Our next question will be from Travis Hines of the Ames Tribune. Go ahead, Travis.
Hey, George. We've talked to Steve a couple times, and each time when he's talked about you, he's talked about wanting to see you take your game to the next level.
Yep.
I know Randy asked you, what you needed to do this year, but I was just curious on when you hear him say that, what does that mean to you to do that?
Just being an elite shot blocker. And being an elite shot blocker doesn't mean that I block every shot. It means, you know, when the opportunity presents itself, that I even change the shot. But he's pushing me to be the player that I know personally I can be, and he knows who I can be. So he's pushing me to that point, and I'm trying to respond well to it.
what's it been like for you guys with so many new guys to try to navigate getting everybody on the same page, which that'd be hard in a new year with how many new guys you have, but with all the restrictions because of COVID, and how have you guys been trying to do that?
We've just been, staying on top of each other, making sure everyone's getting in and watching film. Personally, I've been trying to watch film with some of the freshmen so they understand certain plays or certain calls and stuff like that, just so they can get up to speed. So I feel like we're doing really good with what we can, but hopefully sooner than later we can do more.
Thanks, George.
No problem.
Our next question will be from Matt Bellinson of the Iowa State Daily. Go ahead, Matt.
Hey, George. Just in watching you a lot last year, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I get the correct impression that you really pride yourself on being a big energy guy, playing with a lot of energy, and feeding off your teammates and making big plays and stuff like that.
Right.
And I know we mentioned a lot about how Jalen brings a lot of energy to practice so far. Just how big is having guys like that on a team, especially in a year where Hilton isn't going to be full, like you're used to?
Yeah. That's something like personally me I've been fighting in my head, because I feed off the crowd sometimes as well. But having a teammate like Jalen, coming in and bringing that same type of energy that I'm trying to bring is great. You can see it in practice and everything. Like when me and Jalen are on the same team in practice, it's just like we know that if we just keep talking, we keep doing what we got to do and be in the right spots, that the other team is going to make a mistake. So, just having that energy and just with him helping me talk and everything, it's huge.
When you talk about energy, I think like some people might have different interpretations of what that means. Like when you guys are in practice, does that mean you guys are kind of yelling when big plays happen? Are you guys communicating, calling out plays and stuff like that? When you say you guys are bringing energy, kind of what does that look like?
Yeah. So what I mean we're bringing energy is we're making sure we're talking, or we're not giving up on a play. Like we're making sure we get a closeout on everything, or a high contest, and everyone's trying to make that extra effort. And if you get a stop, you're excited for your team. You're yelling, you're happy, everybody's into it. And that's just the main goal, is to try to get everyone into it. And I believe with Jalen's help, we can do that.
All right, thank you.
No problem.
Our next question comes from Zane Douglas of the Iowa State Daily. Go ahead, Zane.
Hi, George. I just wanted to kind of get your thoughts on how Xavier has looked just since coming in as a freshman.
Thoughts on him? He's a great, smart kid. He's a fast learner, but it's a physical game. So one thing is for sure, he has to get stronger. But he's doing that. He stays in the weight room with our new trainer, David Land. He's done a tremendous job with him, and has done a tremendous job with me. But with Xavier, he's doing what he's supposed to be doing. You just got to help him along.
I asked you last year a couple times about what Solomon's kind of meant to you, but now you've kind of maybe flipped roles a little bit. What kind of have you meant, or what have you kind of been teaching Xavier at all about your game and stuff like that?
Our relationship between me and Xavier has gotten a lot stronger through practices and everything. So I'll pull him to the side and let him know, hey, you got to do this or do that, and some of the sneaky stuff I learned from solo that gets you over and stuff like that. I'm starting to teach him and stuff. Just make the game a lot simpler for him. With him being a freshman, that's one of the things that you want, to try to slow the game down for yourself. Because I know once you get in, it's a big moment for you and everything. But just trying to help him slow the game down.
Right, thank you.
No problem.
And that's all we have for you, George. Thanks for your time today.
Thank you. I appreciate it.